Sorry, I need to take off the sweater.
Because it's 15th of March.
Important. Yeah, I want to do my best. So 15th of March was Saturday, if I remember correctly. Yes. So that whole week, I think we presented it very well. One important thing more to state is that as these tensions were rising, students did their best to calm them down.
Yes.
Do not expect D-Day, please. Change takes time. We want better. Our demands haven't been met at 4 months. I don't think they're going to be met in one day.
Yeah.
And then the president goes on TV and he says there's going to be a lot of violence. And then a host says, a spokesperson says, well, you can't expect the mob to be peaceful. And then she says, well, I said the mob. I didn't mean students. I meant those who are going to be violent. And then, so on Monday before the protest, the students go and they beg the public broadcast to let them on so they can tell everyone in the country this protest is going to be peaceful. But we have this whole week of students saying it's going to be peaceful and tensions rising. And at one point we reach Saturday, the 15th. And that day was incredible. It was really, the day before that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Say.
Yes. Yeah. Do you want to say that?
No.
I mean, that's maybe interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So Saturday is the 15th, 14th in the evening in Belgrade, a beautiful event is organized, which is the welcoming of students from all over Serbia. So let's say we have group from the north coming at 7, group from the south coming at 9, group from the east coming at 8. So we have
I
all
have
of
to
these...
interrupt because there is an important part is there was scheduled when the students are going to arrive, but important thing is the government stopped all the public transportation in Belgrade. They stopped all the buses coming from other cities to Belgrade. They went all trains are stopped. Students from Kragujevac they rented out privately buses to take them to Belgrade. Police came to the buses, they took off the license plates for no reason at all. They took the license plates off and they couldn't go. And so there was a question, how are students from Kragujevac going to come tonight to Belgrade? So guess what? Taxi drivers and people from Kragujevac or from Belgrade just went, picked people up, and it was, again, solidarity. So in a way, government did everything they could to keep people from coming in Belgrade, but people did everything they could to get people to Belgrade. So it was everyone worked together, and yes, everyone arrived. I remember that I arrived to Belgrade from Berlin in 10 p.m. and I thought that the students have already arrived, but the students from Kragujevac were the last ones at 10:30 or something like that. And then I also welcomed them. So yes, that's important to know how the government did everything to stop this. Yeah.
Exactly. And this is, so again, this is not our opinion.
Yeah.
There's only a few things that can be done so that you can stop trains from functioning. And supposedly there were someone called the train service and they said, I'm afraid that a bomb has been planted. And then they said, okay, we're stopping all the trains. So the students that I mentioned, those are the students coming by foot. They were scheduled really well. So we have people coming by foot who can barely walk. And the whole day in Belgrade, we I was at my place of employment that day. Everyone was looking where the students are on an hourly basis. Oh my God, they're reaching Pančevo, a town close by. They're reaching Zrenjanin. They're reaching Zemun, closer to Belgrade. And then at the Terazije Square, the oldest, a really old part of town, where there's a big street, we were greeting them. So we have students arriving who marched several hundred kilometers to reach Belgrade. They're barely walking. Their feet are sore, they have day-old blisters. They were gifted little slippers so that they could walk. We have them coming as champions. parents crying,
everyone
students crying, everyone crying. Like, you have some people by bike, you have like euphoria for everyone cheering for everyone. And as students arrived, one more thing that we have to highlight is they were bringing their like flags from their towns, flags from their municipalities. And then you can see on every coat of arms what that town is important. We keep mentioning Kragujevac. Kragujevac is named after a species of bird. I had no idea about that. That's beautiful. I learned that from the students. So we have people coming with their towns, and we're like, yay, Kragujevac, yay, Aranđelovac, yay, Gornji Milanac, all places. Like, you're cheering from everyone. So we have them coming, and that was like, I think it lasts like 6 hours, the welcoming of students.
Yeah, it was really long.
Like at least. It was long because we were waiting for everyone, and then you had students by foot, people who made it by car, people who made it by bike. Every way that it was possible, people were reaching Belgrade.
Also, like the tractors, farm people from with the tractors arrived. And is there an information? There is, but I don't know. Do you remember how many people were there on the welcoming day? On the welcoming night?
I don't remember on that square exactly, but I think that it was like several tens of thousands of people with those who were coming. So us from Belgrade and everyone who was coming, but I don't remember. But it was like a huge. It was a huge event. Yeah. And then we think tomorrow is a beautiful celebration of this good, and we wake up on the 15th, and like early morning, public transportation was stopped. That is really important to mention. It was a great move. Honestly, the traffic police on the 15th did its job perfectly well. I don't have anything bad to say about that. They stopped all traffic so that everyone choosing different ways to go would be able to go safely. They did made like a few routes that were available to cars, but those are very well monitored. No people were injured by car. There wasn't anything. So I joined the protest. One more important thing. We have the students who are organizing the protest. Everyone was doing a very noble part of their studies. So students from the like organization scientists, they were organizing everything, making the maps, sharing them on social media. Students who study architecture and engineering, they were making sure that people cross bridges safely. They've been doing that since like every large protest.
Yeah, since the first protest, yes, it's always there. It's always a rule for that.
And like I know that like when the Roman army are marching, they can make like oscillations in time that can weaken a bridge. So imagine if there's like thousands of people crossing. So the students would say, okay, one group go, stop, next one you're stopping. Okay, now you go. So meeting up at the central part took the whole day because we were really going slowly and having a lot of time while we were going there, I would say.
Yeah, it was going like from every university. Like people from every university are just arriving with cars, walking, like however they were. Yeah.
Bikes, and they are also. So the students are supported first and foremost by their teachers, by their professors. They're supported by veterans of the 63rd Brigade that were mentioned, and they're also supported by bikers who are like making sure that they are like covering the edges of the student crowd. So that day was really incredible because you had Serbian flags everywhere, first of all. Like everywhere, witty signs. Everyone was like cheering to everyone. You have like cars honking in those streets where they could pass, and it was like a huge day. Really, it was. I don't think we're gonna have such an experience. I mean, it's like a once in a lifetime thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it was. I actually have a number that is checked. There was 20,000 bikers. 20,000 bikers coming from all around Serbia. God. And actually I found myself on place in Kralja Milana, so it's like that long road where we also welcome the students. I was walking there with my mom, middle of the street, of course, as you do. And then some people came and they were like, move on the sides. and then I see the bikers coming, and that was such a beautiful moment. And everyone is like, they're driving super slow, Serbian flags, three fingers. There's also like the Holy Ghost, Holy Father Ghost, and
Father, Son.
And it's like a Serbian thing. Like if you do this is like Serbians, and everyone was like three fingers, flags, and honking, with their lights, doing whatever. And then I was recording that, and I was like crying of happiness, and we were all jumping and welcoming them, and then it's happening. And like they're going, and there's like more, and there's more, and I look like at the phone, and it was 15 minutes of them just going. So it was like 20,000 bikers, only bikers who came there, and they were also there. Like there was a lot of parts, like 63 Brigade, the bikers. They were there to make sure that like this stays unviolent. Like no one wants to hurt anyone. Like this is just. We're there with the students. And
also like there was a medical aid tent that was set up near the Faculty of Law by medical students. So just in case someone gets ill, very important. That wasn't like a battlefield hospital. That was a tent. If someone faints from the crowd, like. It was a bit of a heavy day. Like it was raining sometimes, but some people can get sick from that weather. And at Slavia, at like the big gathering, we had one like young man faint. So students were really prepared for that, and they made sure there were like multiple first aid points. And it was like we were really trying to like accentuate how well organized this was.
I think also to mention this, during every protest, as well as the 15th of March, the thing that is really also by students said that we really have to be careful about, if we hear the ambulance or police cars going, that means immediately we move. So it was never a problem for ambulance to go through the protest, any of these protests, whether it's 15 minutes of silence that we stand in, or it's just a normal protest. So students really take care of everyone having everything. There was food points on a park that is close to a church, close to the parliament. And there were just tents with a lot of food and coffee and water, a lot of water, and you can take whatever you wanted. It's like really to help you. So that day I woke up at 10. I live in a city center, which was beautiful because I woke up by the sounds of whistles and horns. Because that day, if you were driving a car, you were driving it like this constantly. I wake up to that, and immediately me and my mom, we left. So we left our house at like 10:30, 11, and we walked until the end of the protest. So that also means like you walk a lot. I mean, not as much as the students did, but that's why like they took care of everything, that you have everything and that you feel safe and all right.
Yes, and it's important to know that the students had a very well-developed plan for this protest, and many people who were attending it were aware. So they advised there's going to be a lot of noise, there's going to be a lot of sounds, there's going to be a lot of people. Please do not bring pets. Please do not bring young children. It can be really disturbing for them. And so the main point that was supposed to happen is the biggest silent vigil ever for those killed in Novi Sad. So I believe that it was planned for 7 o'clock near the parliament. But because of how massive the protest was, and because people wanted to avoid being so close to Students 2.0 to just keep the tensions down, the students said that a huge part of the protest, like a huge part of the crowd, and crucial thing to point is official records say that I believe there was like 300,000 people by the official records, but the independent drone footage expert team counted 800,000 people during that 15 minutes of silence. And throughout the whole day, it is estimated that between that number and just over 1 million people were in Belgrade. So that is every fifth or so person in the country. That is a lot of people. And the main point was supposed to be at Slavia Square at 7 o'clock, a silent virgil. Before that virgil, I was lucky enough to stand really close to the stage. There was a beautifully organized national anthem by the student choir, national anthem, and a few old songs about Serbia, like our former anthem, one of the first anthems when Serbian was just developing as a language. They are very well-known songs.
And also really well known for these protests, like something that we sang in these protests.
Exactly. And it was so beautiful to see so many people singing the anthem with hope. Like the anthem, we usually see it at like sport events when the players hear the beginning of the anthem before they start, like in football. But now it had only to do with why we're here. We're here because we want a country that coincides with student demands being met. And then, so we have this beautiful utopian euphoric day happening, and then something really weird happened during those 15 minutes of silence.
Yeah. So should we like
just to check where were you when this weird thing that we're going to talk about happened?
I was actually,
let's just position ourselves.
So you were at the stage which is literally where your head is in the frame right now, I think. No.
Okay, I'm there.
Yeah.
It's Slavia Square.
And I'm like opposite, but like I was really close to the fountain on Slavia, so it was like I was like in the middle. Yeah. And so I can maybe say that from my perspective, what happened. Is that better, or do I play the video?
Maybe the video first, because that's like the event, and then how it seemed to us, because by chance we were both at another side, like the second center of the protest. Then the video. Yeah.
So let's see this. 15 minutes of silence. Something happens and people move in such, like, this is really fast. This is not something, this is the best video, The way that people move is not something that you do naturally or that you do because someone told you to do it. It's something that you do out of
instinct.
Yes, and out of fear. That's fear. So what happened when we heard, we were there for 15 minutes of silence, and and it was so beautiful to see like so many hundreds of thousands of people being really quiet. So hundreds of thousands of people, middle of city center, and I can only hear the drones flying over my head, which were recording us. That was the only thing. It was 7:12. So at 7 it started. 7:12. We heard a sound. We heard people commoting really far away from us, and people started whistling because people thought, okay, yeah, it's over, because we only had 3 more minutes. And then people thought, okay, it's over, yeah. And then everyone continued to, make noise. And then we looked at our phones, we're like, no. And then a lot of people were just trying to calm everyone down. We're like, no, we have to continue. We continued, we finished it, and then we made noise. And then we got a message on our phones, everyone that, you can see it on Instagram, and everyone was sending to you and stuff, that the protest is over. So, do you want to talk about what happened?
Yeah, I think it's really important to show what happened in the center of town and share our experiences, because this was the biggest protest ever, and even though we were all prepared it's going to be big, no one could expect this. So phone coverage was off in most parts of the town for most parts of the day.
Yes.
So you there's no way that you can know what's happening 2 streets behind you. There's simply no way in such a huge crowd. So at 7, and this is really important that you mentioned that everyone knows why we're here, and that's why nobody in their right mind would stop 15 minutes of silence. There's just no way. And so I also had a similar reaction. I just heard that silence was interrupted from above me, so near the 3rd Belgrade gymnasium. And I have a video of that, but it's really weird because people in front of me, I was so confused that I even pushed my hand down. So you can't really see anything, but people were just like, what's going on? And we all looked at one point where we could hear the commotion. So I did not know by the end of the night what happened. But when I came home, I heard, protest is over, safely reach your home. But then when we came home, and thank God we did safely, well, what I saw was disturbing. So it's like a horror movie. You have this video that we saw where people are running for their lives. And you can hear in the noise, like as we hear, it's not rational. It's like, I'm afraid for my life. And from many videos that were shared that night, as the ones that we saw, and in the morning, you can hear that what happened was crazy. So it's 7 p.m. and 11 minutes after 7 p.m. something like a huge noise went through the crowd. But by the statements of people who were there in that main street where that happened, we could hear that they say, yes, it was a sound, but it was also like a force going through us. And I thought that like a plane is crashing, like a car is running 300 kilometers per mile, like a tank is coming my way. I just thought imminent death. And that was what is stated by the people who were there, imminent death. And when you said, when people heard commotion, there were others who were like, no, calm down, we have to keep silent. Every life matters. So 15 minutes cannot be cut to 12. So when the sound wave passed through the crowd, we can see people running for their lives, but then as you got more videos from eyewitnesses, you can hear something beautiful in the sounds. And that's, wait, no, madam, are you okay? Guys, stop. Like, guys, calm down. I think that how we managed to stay where we were and not cause a stampede was through that. Was through something that we probably weren't aware of at the moment, but it was like this huge caring solidarity. No, we're not stopping 15 minutes. Okay. So, and then, okay, slow down. Are you okay? You just fell. Do you need to go to the hospital? A few people went directly to the hospital. As you said, the ambulance were always allowed to pass through the crowd. And then we went home, and there were so many people that everyone saw like a different part of that event. But what we were able to piece as a story by the end of the day, when the crowd attending the protest gathered around at this like round table called the Internet in Serbian, we saw many parts of the story. And like interrupt me if I like don't say anything, don't say something important, but what we could see is a few minutes, not like a few minutes, but like a few seconds before that wave rushes by, we have students, like the student, how would you call it, Redari? Like the
students who they were wearing markers always, and they were like the security of the events. Like of every protest, they would like secure, make sure that the ambulance can pass by, make sure that we don't walk on bridges and so on,
Exactly. And like they were, like, you know, at like festivals and concerts, you have those crowd control. Like they were like crowd control students. And you see them quickly taking off their vests. And they said that as well. And on few videos, right where we saw the sound like burst through, or the wave, you see bikers running with students towards one side of the town. What we learned was that at the same minute when the sound, like wave, mysterious wave, passed through the crowd, people from the Students 2.0 camp started attacking the protesters. So I think we have an image here, like there was a crowd of people at the Students 2.0 camp. So this is really weird, and if you're listening to the podcast, please like check on YouTube or find this image if you can. We have a group of guys, like buff guys, who are all pointing at, like they're all staring at one direction. They look like they're ready to pounce. Like, why, if you're in your camp, like hanging out with other students who want to study, why are you all looking at one very specific point? Where are you gonna go? What's happening here? So we have them attacking protesters at the same moment when the sound went through. So if we, like, everything finished, like everything ended well, but if we had a stampede, and in the stampede you have violent individuals, I don't even want to think like what could have happened.
Third point, so all those things that happened at the same time, as you said, you had a thing that personally I think that was something that was trying to make a stampede. That's not proven, but it's something that, you know, pushes you. It's a sound that was supposed to go like this, so a sound that, imagine like those couple thousand people that were hurt by that were hurt by that, no quotes, that were actually hurt by that, like if they just continued to run straight, they would run into us, and we're in the middle, we're in the center, we're in the biggest roundabout in Belgrade, and from that biggest roundabout there's all these streets that are also filled with people, and it really easily can go and make a chaos. But at the same time, so as imagine the Stampedo started running, so like people started running and people started running all around, and then if you run to this side, there was these guys who were prepared to do something, and at the University of Law there was the how would you say, the gendarmeria, like the people, like policemen who were in full equipment for breaking up the protests. So everything. And they were on a truck, and there was like, I don't know, like 10 of them on one truck, and there was like dozen of trucks that were just parked casually on the street, and they were ready. So I can only imagine what this plan was, of people starting running around, and then there was the police, and then a chaos could have happened. But what stopped the chaos is the students, and it's the 63rd Parachute Brigade. The way that they reacted to everything, the way that they noticed that something was happening, students took their markers off. They took the targets off of their chest right away. They informed everyone that the protests are over. You mentioned that the phones were not working, and that is completely correct. During the whole day, it was really hard to get data on your phone, but when students announced this, we got the information really quickly, either from someone who just got the internet right now on their phone and they're saying that aloud, or it was really, information was going quickly, and that's all their plan, and everything was stopped in time.
It was really bizarre, because so in one part of the town, I mean, also depends on your provider, right? So like a network provider's mine is like notorious for not working in these situations. I wasn't even expecting network coverage, so I didn't have any, and I did not know where like my other friends are, where my parents are. I didn't even know what happened, except I had this like distinct feeling that something really weird happened, because no way that we would end 15 minutes of silence early. Like that's the highlight of our gathering today. No way. And I just had this like deep feeling of something weird happened, and it was like, I know my town really well, and I did not know what was happening. It was such a odd feeling, and then when everyone said protest is over, go home. I started to go upwards, and then I ran into another group of people, and I sat down, and then I understood, okay, like how did this end so peacefully? And then everyone said, students say go home peacefully, I'm gonna listen to them. And then I say, yeah, I'm gonna listen to them too, of course, like very safely. And we all went home peacefully, like all the people that I knew. But those, exactly as you said, who were hurt by the sound, they did not go home peacefully, right? So half of them went to the hospital to report what was happening, stating like a loud, like their
headache,
headaches. They were not able to hear properly. Nausea, complete like disorientation, this inner fear of panic, like this heightened panic state. Those were the lucky ones, so to speak, because people who had bypassers had serious complications. People who had other like little helpers that are working in them, like artificial machines that are working in them, they had also like skipped their rhythm. They had serious injuries because of that. So those who went to the doctor, they reported what was happening, and they're really also important for this story. But what was my shock is thinking how I came home safely, and as I'm gathering the data, thinking exactly as you said, what could have happened. So it was a beautiful day that ended in me feeling very unsafe in my town, because what's important and that we saw in the video is that something that felt like a weapon to everyone who was hit by it hit a crowd of people during 15 minutes of silence from their back. Yes. Like you don't even like push another kid in the kindergarten if they're facing, like if you're facing their back. So it was, I think it's very safe to say that we felt like prey, like victimized as well.
Attacked. Like that's
attacked.
A straight on attack, and a super illegal one. Not because it's illegal, but because you have people literally standing in silence. Like that is the moment when you don't do anything. And let's not even start to mention that is us paying respects to people who died, and to paying respects to their families, condolences to their families. And it is about them, and everything is about them. And making an attack is, or making a group of students who are gonna be something in contrast of the students who are fighting for finding a responsible person for 15 people dying is crazy to me. So you are going to be a contrast of like finding justice. Yes. I get that you want to go to the university, but that is not as like important as lives, and as me being scared for my friends and family that live in Belgrade. I remember when the canopy fell, I was like, okay, Mom, just don't go to stations anymore, you know? So you shouldn't be a contrast to that. And we have that. And then we have an attack. We have attack while people are doing that. So that was a huge thing. And yeah, after that, the government denied.
Yeah, the aftermath. Yes.
They denied. So like first the president came on, and actually he came on that night at 10 p.m. He came on TV and he said that no sonic weapon has been used. We don't even have that, and that's super illegal, and we don't have that, and that's illegal. And then I don't know, a day, 2, 3 after that. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes. So that night, exactly, people pointed to a sound cannon. They said what we felt, what we know, what we have been, like experts spoke, people who used to work in the police, people who are working with like physics or technology or I don't know, but anyways, experts, like an art historian is not gonna guess the sound canon, but someone who knows about those machines is gonna guess the sound canon. So he comes and he says it's not a sound canon that night. Meanwhile, between Saturday and Sunday, people are working hard to find footage, to look the details. Can we see where this is coming from? Can we reconstruct? Can we get as many like evidence statements as possible? Nobody went to sleep. Like that was not a thing. You could not go like calmly to sleep that night. And everyone was trying to reconstruct. So what happened was this incredible thing that Serbia has many very well-educated people. Those people know other well-educated people. And someone was able to contact an NGO called Earshot that works with audio forensics really quickly. Earshot replied, "Hey Serbia, we hear you. We're not working on a Sunday, but as soon as we wake up, we're gonna start analyzing this, what happened." Everyone was trying this to like journalists and the news as quickly as possible, and I think that it's safe to say that this went viral, like what happened. So Earshot comes back on Monday and it says on X, "We examined 12 videos at the moment and we think that where a sonic weapon was allegedly used." The post said also, 4 of the videos contain a sound consistent with the noise produced by a vortex ring gun or vortex cannon, which are both weaponized machines. And so we have first night president saying what you stated, then 2 days after, the Minister of Interior Defense, Ivica Dačić, comes up and he says, well, we do own a machine, but it's unpacked. Like, we don't use it. People are not letting this go. They keep sharing. They keep asking experts for their opinion. Earshot says, we're pretty sure in our analysis that this was not like a case of panic. And also what's important is when officials say this, like no sound cannon was used, their theory is this was panic that spread through the crowd. I think that in the video that we saw, that's not panic spreading through the crowd. This is like a reaction that you have from an earthquake.
Yeah, there can be something that someone just thought of doing. Then one person said, "Hey, guys, let's move." You know, that's... Yeah. And also, like, I know that a friend who studies psychology, she explained to me that in a panic, you don't run one way. You run, like, whenever you can. Like, you would move people out. It wouldn't be, like, this strict rate. And then the Minister of Interior says, we own such a machine, but it is still packed, it's untouched, we don't use it. A few days later, he says, well, we do own the machine, like the police of Serbia owns the machine, but we didn't use it. Then they say, well, we did use it, but we didn't use it in this way. We used it as like a speaker, like a loudspeaker to coordinate between the armed police forces, as you said. But what happened with them changing their statement every 2 days is that people worked really hard to analyze all the footage that everyone took that day. Remember the photos where there's the sea of light? Every light that you see is a phone. Many people took videos, and they were able on one video to zoom in and find a vehicle that has this like LRAD device, which is a long-range acoustic device that can, with a certain frequency, cause this like vortex ring gun, vortex cannon noise that Earshot heard when they were analyzing the sound. So now where we're standing is we know what caused it, we know what caused this effect, and the police is stating that they do have a machine that was capable of exactly that thing, but they weren't using it in that way that night. So that's what's happening, and at the moment we're recording this on 30th of March, so just over 2 weeks after the event. The government has invited FBI and a Russian version of FBI, which I think is SB, something like that, to do a thorough investigation. What's interesting to me is that they haven't consulted any European agency, let alone like a domestic agency. So as far as they're concerned,
this is still like an unsolved mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they also came up and said, and that was 1-2 days after the attack, they came up and said that everyone who raises a panic and says that it's a sonic weapon, they're gonna get prosecuted. So they're also like scaring people and saying like, don't say things. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And those patients as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like those patients who were affected by this, when they went to the doctor, the same night that the president said no sound cannon was used, I think that same night or the day after, the Minister of Health, Lontar, he said no one came and reported anything out of the ordinary. Like, make no mistake, it was a perfectly ordinary night.
Mm-hmm.
He said that, but you have people showing their like diagnosis, said, no, look, like I don't hear on one ear, my bypass had severe complications. So they are also ones who can be like prosecuted for spreading panic, right? And then also those people report that when they went to like public health services, so we have like private clinics and public clinics, but public clinics are way larger, and the nurses simply don't have enough space, so they have to walk through hallways and they intercept each other all the time. And during one of those interceptions, patients heard one of the nurses saying, mark those who mention the protest with a P, like mark their chart with a P. So these, and there's a like N1, the independent news channel that we keep referencing, they interviewed people who were severely hurt by this, and you can see they're very emotional, they're very like they're devastated, because they say, I'm being gaslighted by doctors, I'm being gaslighted by the government, I'm maybe going to be prosecuted for spreading panic, and I don't feel safe anymore in my town. I mean, I don't know if you're listening to the podcast, can you hear how disturbed we are when we're talking about this? And we weren't even hit, so to speak. Like, if I was amongst that crowd, I wouldn't feel safe walking there anymore.
Yeah. In the country at all, no one supports you, no one's by your side, like from the system. But luckily there is us, and there is those people who are contacting the earshot, the everything, checking the information. President came on TV the other day and he said NASA confirmed that it wasn't a sonic weapon used. He was referring to a guy that's surname is NASA. I'm not entirely sure at this, but he was referring to a guy that's name, or I don't know what he's referring to, but he actually said NASA on television. He said NASA confirmed that it's not true, and then actually someone wrote to NASA and they were like, did you confirm this? And NASA answered, we did not investigate anything in Serbia, so like we don't have information anything about Serbia. So like you have these people who are fighting for you, like writing to people,
representing you.
Yeah, lawyers who are also like there to help you, and if you get prosecuted or if something happens, we're together, we're in this together. And yeah, things are getting solved like that.
Mm-hmm. But solidarity again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Solidarity, that's what's going to get us through this. That is the most important thing about all of this. So that's the 15th of March. And then since then, so it's 15 days after that. And there has been happening a lot of things, a lot of protests, a lot of way of the government to repress things. And we're gonna talk about them. And probably that's going to be through our guests. So also something that's going to help our objectivity is by bringing in guests and people from all over. At some point, even some Serbian students. It's important. Like we had these 3 episodes of just us presenting it, like a presentation of everything, but we are going to talk to our guests and come back to a lot of these points. there's a lot of more things that we probably skipped through, but I think like the base from 1st of November to 15th of March is kind of said in 3 hours.
Yes, yeah, we really did our best, and as we mentioned at the beginning of this episode, it's a lot. We're constantly going through a lot. There's a lot of news every day, but some time distance, although it gives us a calmed down way to look at what happened 3 or 4 months ago, it is normal that maybe we forgot something. If we did, rest assured we're going to mention it, and we did not forget it on purpose.
Yes.
So
yes.
Yeah, just to state that.
We plan to do this weekly, so on a weekly basis we're going to have time to come back to things and actually explain them. So yeah, all right. Then that's it for now, and we'll see you next week.
Bye. See ya. Thanks. Bye.